Hello everyone and welcome to an episode of the Film Digest with your hosts Brenny Jimenez
and Andre Gonzalez.
Today we'll be giving the scoop on Hollywood, what movies are out now,
and what the Digest recommends to watch for the weekend.
So with that being said, let's start the show. So Henry, after a few months off the set, there's been no shortage of news to cover. But if I somehow had to cover and describe the point in time we're in now, it has to be like a 2023 Barbenheimer aftermath.
For sure.
You know, we're all still processing the climatic weekend that defied the summer blockbuster experience for all of us. And even though most of us felt that there'd be a contest between Barbie and Oppenheimer, both of the movies, individually, dominated the box office for weeks to come.
Absolutely, Brandon. And it stayed that way for the whole month afterwards. That is until August's batch of blockbusters have come to light. Granted, Meg 2, Gran Turismo, and Blue Beetle were dwarfed in their lifetime box office earnings, as opposed to the Titans that released last July. You know, it's not fair competition, but each of them did win the domestic box office each time they came out for their own individual weekends, which is a triumph enough, you know? And considering that Barbie has now made over $1 billion and Oppenheimer has recently become one of the top 10 highest grossing R-rated movies ever, it seems difficult to think that any movies releasing in 2023 could beat these two films.
Actually, Henry, that might not be the case. We still have plenty of exciting films coming out this year, and in my opinion, that's what August has done for us. You know, there's been 6 trailers that have dropped in this month alone, and each of them tease what we can expect in the next few months. Even a little more coming out on Christmas. The long-awaited Rebel Moon is finally released its teaser trailer, and I have to say the movie looked spectacular.
For sure.
It seems to have everything Zack Snyder promised us, and from the fantastic and mind-blowing sci-fi plot to the mind-blowing visual effects, Rebel Moon looks like it's gonna deliver big time.
For sure, Brandon. And like you mentioned briefly, there is indeed a lot more to it than just the 2023 release. In announcing the trailer, Zack Snyder also gave us a release date for its next world-building sequel in April 2024. Supposedly, he already finished both films, so now he's just waiting to release both. That's something to look forward to for sure.
Absolutely, but you know some other trailers that can be included just in that is David Fincher's new trailer for The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender, and that movie should be coming out on October for Netflix. I think that would be pretty cool, personally. And the trailer hasn't shown anything that the movie will be like, which is both good and tedious, you know.
Yeah.
Another film trailer that has been released recently was Michael Mann's Ferrari with Adam Driver.
Wow. Both of those movies sound pretty great, Brandon. I'm really glad to hear that these two legendary directors will be releasing something before the year's over. As for the other trailers that have come out, we have Expendables 4 coming out this month on September 22nd. The most recent trailer shows off its star-studded cast with a pretty entertaining story behind it. Another film to look forward to is next month, neo-noir Reptile, starring Benicio del Toro as a hardened detective and Justin Timberlake playing the supporting role. Looks promising, but might be better than meets the eye. I mean, the trailer wasn't disappointing, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the actual movie for myself. We'll have to see that one on October 7th for sure. And that makes it 5, right? What's the last one you wanted to bring up, Brandon?
So the last one is Freelance, Henry. It's like this action comedy with John Cena, Alison Brie, Alice Eve, and Christian Slater. It sounds like it's going to be pretty cool, and I'm sure it's going to leave a big impact on 2023 as it outros. The movie's directed by Pierre Morel. He's the one that made Taken.
Oh, wow.
And mark your calendars. It's coming out on October 6th. It looks really exciting.
For sure. But to say less, let's look at what we can expect this weekend. There are 3 notable movies coming out this weekend, including My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. This latest sequel to the classic romantic comedy has received some pretty decent reviews from early audiences. So we can expect a pretty good turnout from the box office and from audience criticisms. Another exciting project coming out this weekend is a relatively underground comedy with a stellar cast. Poor Things, which is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, will be leading with stars like Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, and a bunch of other great actors, right? And from a recent interview, unsurprisingly, the acting was supposedly a big highlight for the film, and Emma Stone herself stated that her lead character, an undead young woman, is her favorite character that she's ever played. That's got me pretty interested.
Wow, it surpasses, Cruella when she played Cruella, and also
Right.
her role as Mia in La La. I think that's crazy.
Right.
That's pretty bold. And finally, what we got, The Nun 2. It's a
Yeah.
pretty relevant, horror movie.
And
We got the Equalizer 3. It came out last week and it's gotten some pretty great reviews. Denzel Washington, as always, did great in the third movie, and you can expect some pretty intense action. For sure, viewer discretion must be advised.
for sure, Brandon. I'd say we did a pretty good job at catching up with the times in Hollywood. Except there's only one thing that we really have to bring up. That would have to be the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes that have been developing over the last few months. Now, some of the year's most exciting projects are now being delayed indefinitely because of the struggle. And as moviegoers, we take it pretty hard when some of Hollywood's most hard-working stars and writers are striking for such a noble cause, right? I mean, it's a big issue, and I think it's personally important that we bring it up.
Yeah, Henry, but hopefully both sides reach a conclusion, for the union and the audience's sake. But with that being said, thank you for joining us this week, and make sure to tune in next week for another Movies Out Now.
Absolutely. I think that should cover this week, Brandon. It feels pretty good to be back on set, and I'm glad we're having a great year for cinema. Some of the best films that have come out over 2023 include Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Asteroid City, Sound of Freedom, and much more.
The next months will also have some pretty exciting movies. Some will be unfortunately delayed to the strikes, but hopefully it'll get better in Hollywood.
Absolutely. Summer was a big success for movie theaters around the world, and it looks like we're going to get even more luck as the year comes to a close.
Yeah, and we'll be here to report it, on as much of it as we can.
Also try binge watching some thrillers from the past as the trend for Hollywood's newest projects keep up with action. Also binge watch some of Zack Snyder's best works as Rebel Moon approaches with some exciting features. Other than that, that's what the Digest recommends for the weekend. Thank you for joining us. My name is Henry Gonzalez.
And I'm Brandon Jimenez. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you up on Hollywood next week.